I'm sorry. Okay? I'm sorry. 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 I'm sorry,
okay? Hey, everybody, and welcome back to I'm Sorry, Okay? A podcast where we are watching so much Degrassi. I'm Mary, here with Paul and LD. This week we watched Season 1, Episode 13 of Degrassi Junior High, Revolution. This episode was written by Jan Moore, directed by Kit Hood, and originally aired on April 12th, 1987. To make Wheels jealous, Stephanie appoints Joey to a government post, infuriating the entire 7th grade. And quickly, I wanted to note that this is our Season 1 finale!
Woo!
So make sure you stick around until the end of the episode to hear some of our favorite moments from our first season of Degrassi Junior High, including some of the best feuds and the most responsible adult.
Slim pickings.
It was very slim pickings.
I love that the summary says that she gives him a government position, like Stephanie K is working at the State Department.
She's the president, baby. And also that it's the entire 7th grade, which is a group of 5 to 7 students that we're familiar with.
I think at some point they do call themselves 7C, which makes me assume that grade 7 is broken up into different homerooms and that we're following a specific group of grade 7s.
Fun.
That's some good detective work there.
How many stories at Degrassi Junior High are there?
Oh my God, how many have we missed?
Right? While Rick and Caitlin are getting to know each other, what's going on in 7B? That's what I want to know.
It's a really good question. And also, I would just like to say that in this episode, much like the pilot, we see an extra who walks out of the classroom with the grade 7s, who is then introduced in the next season as a main character who they say has just moved there and she's in grade 8. And it really bothers me. We've seen her and her skinhead haircut multiple times. She doesn't have a name yet, but she will.
Wait, what is her haircut? I don't know if I've seen her.
She's got the buzz cut and then just bangs and then the long sideburns.
Oh.
I have not noticed this character at all.
Hold on. There's a specific name for this haircut.
Chelsea.
The Chelsea? Yeah.
I hate it.
I guess if we want to look at it more positively, you can start as an extra and be promoted to a full-time actor on this show.
Yes, very good level up for this actor. However, I don't like the continuity
It doesn't work for
error.
continuity. Exactly. This episode starts with Joey embarrassing Steph in the hallway. He's very dramatically telling her, he's on his knees,
He
slides
on his knees behind her and scares the crap out of her.
Yes, he makes an entrance, and then he's telling her, he's a really great guy if she would get to know him, and he's her slave. Whatever she wants, he will do. But what she wants is for him to leave her alone. And she tells her friends he's just not the kind of guy that she would go out with.
He's
funny.
funny.
We have a new middle name for Joey here. L is for lover.
Oh, excellent.
I feel like he may have used that one before, but...
Well, we previously had P for Playboy and F for something that
for
I can't
pharmacy.
Remember.
It was F for pharmacy.
That's why I couldn't remember it.
So later we see Steph in the hallway and Wheels walks by and Steph just has big hard eyes for him. Some grade 7s are sitting in the stairwell when she walks by, and we find out it's now common knowledge that Steph and Arthur are siblings. They actually have an interaction where they kind of acknowledge that fact in front of other people. But after Steph walks by, the grade 7s start roasting her, and they bring up the fact that she hasn't chosen a new sports rep since Jason Cox left.
I really appreciated that they said that Jason Cox left because I've been wondering where he is for quite some time. But also, before they start roasting her, about her job, Kathleen immediately jumps in with some, in my opinion, pretty like girl on girl crime. Steph goes into the bathroom and Kathleen's just like, you know, basically saying, oh, she always goes into the bathroom and changes. And then she's like, we've got the worst dressed school president in the whole country.
Yeah, that's her first complaint, is that she's the worst dressed school president, which does not seem to have anything to do with her otherwise terrible job performance.
You can do a good job in hot pants. It's possible.
Or hot pink leggings.
Yeah. If you can dream it, you can be it. And I dream of a world where our president is wearing hot pink leggings.
Agreed. I was also missing Jason's alpha bro energy. So I was sad to learn that he had moved away. But yes, I was also glad to have some resolution there because I just kept hoping he might come back.
I just needed closure.
Truly.
You know?
We all are going to miss Jason, but I feel like Yik would be a much more unbiased sports rep. But that's just one person's opinion.
Oh, definitely. He's not going to be like drafting unqualified athletes onto a team just so he can win a swim meet.
Or exclude announcements about other sport activities on his own.
Yik likes girls, so he's probably not going to be a total misogynist.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, Yik probably thinks that girls are good at sports.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
Yeah, he hates stereotyping. So, yes, we all agree that Yik would be a good choice.
Bye, Jason.
For sports rep, and probably much better than his predecessor, who, while entertaining, was not really representative of everyone. So Steph and the twins are talking about wheels in the girls' bathroom, and Steph wants to ask him out on another date, even though the other ones haven't turned out very well, but she worries about him saying no. The twins are like, how could anyone say no to Stephanie K, school president? And then Steph starts to pull down her skirt to reveal that she's wearing like a tube top and leggings, and the other twin says like something like, more like Stephanie K, school bombshell.
Who are these bootlickers? What are they doing?
Bootlickers.
Like, what's happening here?
I mean, we've been shown the twins are like very supportive of their friends for the last few episodes, so I think we're seeing the like negative side of that, where it's just full on, bootlicking, like
sycophantic. Like, here's the thing, right? Yeah. Is like, it's in direct kind of opposition to Kathleen just being like, ugh, we hate her because she wears tight clothes. So of course I'm kind of like, yes, the twins, they're like body positive and they're like sexually liberated or whatever. Just like they're down with Stephanie doing whatever she wants. But I'm just like, come on, guys. You don't need to kiss your friend's ass unless you want to be sports rep.
And also, you know, like the twins don't really challenge Steph at all. Like Vula was like a friend who she would also like hype up Steph, but she would also like challenge her. So yeah, she's kind of like replaced that friendship with like this other friendship that's very like overly posy towards her.
Surface level yes men.
And we do see the twins, you know, they have like kind of a deeper relationship with Spike, but we don't really see that between them and Steph.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. It just kind of seems like she keeps them around so that they'll make her feel good.
It's like built-in double friends.
Yeah.
Like
built-in Gemini energy.
Yes, exactly. So in the next scene, Snake and Wheels have settled on the Zit remedy for their band name. But Joey is not super into it. And I have to imagine it's probably just because he didn't think of it.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, obviously.
So Steph sits by Wheels before class and asks him to go to a movie this weekend, but he turns her down to study. Then he tells her maybe sometime over the holidays, but Steph is like mad and she's just kind of like, you're not serious.
I'm going to back up just a little bit here for two things. Number one, when they go to Joey's locker, he has a picture of Bruce Springsteen on the inside of his locker.
I thought that was the boss.
Absolutely was the boss. And number two, the way that Joey wants his band to stand out is by having Wheels and Snake eat live goldfish on stage.
Sure.
Not himself.
yeah.
Not himself.
He's allergic.
Well,
but the
yeah,
other
he's
two.
allergic to fish.
And he said to think of it as sushi. So I just wanted to quickly sprinkle those in.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for doing that hand motion. No one else could see that, but just imagine Salt Bay.
But we really are witnessing history with the like final formation of the band known as the Zit Remedy.
Yes,
we've been hearing about this band for years.
First of all, for like 30 years. And
Yeah.
also, we are tantalizingly close to hearing their hit and also
Number one.
only song.
Number one hit single, baby.
It is beautiful. It is remarkable. It's a fucking banger.
You are in no way overhyping it at all. It's
Absolutely
impossible
not.
to
Absolutely
overhype
not.
this song.
It would be completely impossible. It is my favorite song.
If you're lucky, we'll give you a little taste of it later on.
Ooh.
Oh.
So
I don't know why I made that sound.
Saucy.
Ooh.
I mean,
it was
we've
like
all heard it. We watched the episode.
All right, continuing on. I'm sorry.
So after class, Steph tells the twins that she's going to make Wheels pay for this. And this being not being able to go to a movie that specific weekend because he needed to study.
Honestly, he was really nice about it. He just said, like, I'm sorry I have to study. Maybe we can catch up over break. And he
Radich has a big test coming up.
He also says, like, I mean, it would be finals, you know what I mean? But also, like, does he not say, like, my parents are upset about my report card? Like, doesn't he also give a bit of an explanation? It's just like, how is that not a good
It's
enough?
clearly not a made up excuse. It's like a legitimate, like, yeah, it's like exam week or whatever. He's got to specifically study this weekend, and he suggests an alternative, like, time to hang out. That's all you need.
And you know what? Last week, he didn't always make the right decision about where he should be at a given time. And so I think we're seeing now he's able to say no to something when he knows it's not like the thing he should be doing.
It's cool though. We're getting like peak asshole Stephanie K. Like, she is officially bitten off more than she can chew with this situation. She just like, because it's been 2 other dates with this guy that, I mean, it seems like she really likes him. But so like she's already had like 2 failed encounters. She's really trying to make this third one happen, and just something like sort of emotionally and mentally like breaks for her, and she is ready to blow this shit up. She is gonna rope in Joey as part of her master plan.
Right. So one of the twins tells Steph that if she was really nice to someone else, Wheels would be jealous. And yeah, Joey just seems like the obvious choice here because he's made it known from day one that he's like really into Steph.
He is obsessed with her.
A perfect pawn.
Oh, I feel so bad for Joey in this episode too. Like, even though he comes
don't make us feel bad for Joey.
Yeah, he comes charging into this episode as a complete sex pest, and we still end up feeling bad for him.
She really takes advantage of this dynamic where, you know, Joey just is like really open about his feelings for her, and she just kind of uses that for her own benefit.
Hate it.
So Yick kind of shyly approaches Steph with all of the other grade 7s behind him, like kind of encouraging him. So he approaches her to ask about being sports rep. And she just like totally blows him off. She says maybe next term. And then she decides to steal his idea, but make it evil.
I hate it. I hate it here.
I love that like Stephanie just like gives him the brush off. Like, she's just like, let's just talk about it next year. Like, whatever, like not even paying attention. But Yick is like not even here for it. And he's just like, she said she didn't want to talk to me. He sort of like makes it way more intense than it technically was. But also like he's calling that shit. Like, he can see that she sucks. And that feels like a turning point.
Yeah, he was really nervous to approach her with a totally reasonable request, and then she just totally like blew him off, and so he's not good with that.
About him the second she turned around,
She looks at him like he is covered in dog shit. Like she absolutely, like she's got kind of a grimace. She kind of like, she doesn't even really give any body language that would show she's listening. You know what I mean? She's just kind of like, "Ugh, whatever."
Oh, yeah. Peak Stephanie K.
But at this point, everyone knows that, she's Arthur's sister, that they're related. So she must know that this is her brother's, like, best friend. And she still just, like, could not give less of a fuck.
Yeah. You hate to see it.
So, the Zit Remedy is practicing in the next scene, and they have now written a 1-minute song.
And it is amazing.
It's a jammer.
Everybody wants something that never give up. Everybody wants something that'll make
Quick music nerd note, Snake is definitely playing his guitar in drop D tuning.
Sick. Do you think he moved on to a new metal when that hit in the early 2000s?
I mean, he's definitely ready with that.
This actually seems like pretty realistic progress from where we saw Zit Remedy in the last episode, where they were all just sort of playing, I wouldn't even necessarily say playing the instruments, but like hitting the keys and strumming at the same time, mashing. So yeah, I like that they've actually put something together here. But Steph just walks right into their band practice and starts like fawning all over Joey, asking him if he wants to be sports rep.
In my notes, I wrote Steph comes in and goddamn nearly mounts Joey.
She's like got her hands all over him. Like this could have been a boner episode.
She gives Wheel just an, oh, hi, Wheels. Like an, oh, I didn't see you there. And it's like, oh, Steph.
Oh, yeah. She's being real obvious. But of course, Joey does not pick up on it at all.
This shit is immoral. We've got abuse of power, intentional manipulation, revenge flirting.
Revenge flirting.
Revenge flirting.
Unbelievable behavior from one President Stephanie K.
So Snake and Wheels bring up the rules, like such as Joey doesn't actually play any sports for Degrassi, and there's supposed to be an election to determine the sports rep, which I also like knowing that Jason Cox won the previous election.
Hell yeah.
I feel like it could have gone even farther if he branched outside of sports. But anyway, we'll never know about that. And Steph tells them,
look, Wheels, I'm school president. I can do what I want.
Abuse of power.
Even though the situation seems pretty clear to everyone else, Joey thinks that Steph is crazy about him, and he's so hyped on this interaction that he wants to play the song again, which is fine because it is only 1 minute long.
Another music nerd note. It's very funny that when they start playing this song, he starts the song and then rushes to the ending. For me, it felt like it gives the interaction a perfect little awkward kick as the viewer, but even in character, it would be really annoying. Like, bro, you just totally messed the song up. Get it together.
I think it's really interesting that Joey is so stoked that Steph likes him, and he's kind of like, oh, sorry, Wheels, she picked me or whatever. And Wheels is just like, no problem. Like, I love that this whole thing has been to make Wheels jealous, and he's just kind of like, oh, I guess she's with Joey now. That's like...
Wheels is just absolutely not the jealous type at all. Like, this was never going to work on him, and Joey's been the one that's been upset this whole time because Steph was interested in Wheels and not him. So, yeah, I think a lot of that is coming from Joey just, like, now feeling vindicated because he's on the other side of this situation, except that Wheels was, like, never a jerk to him about it. Wheels was only ever, like, nice and practical, like, dude, she likes me, not you. Like, what are you going to do about it?
I mean, I think that it's really telling that Joey seems to only find joy when Wheels is bummed. Like, he takes great joy in Steph showing up to the dance drunk, and like when he thinks that she's stood Wheels up, and then here where he thinks he's won her or whatever.
He's petty. But yeah, Wheels is just like, I just met my biological dad. I don't have time for y'all's petty ass little relationship crap.
Wheels has bigger problems, and they're named Mike.
Yeah.
And his mustache.
And his
sleeveless
ability.
shirts and his
Leather
beefy
gloves.
arms that he uses to drum and to crumple notes on defenses.
And to hug.
To hug his bio son. All right, so next we have Joey brushing his hair in the boys' bathroom while wearing a hot pink Zit Remedy crew neck sweatshirt, which was almost my look of the week, but then he put like a hat on and I wasn't really into it anymore.
Before he puts the hat on, his hair has such Tony Danza
vibes.
Absolutely. Or like Scott Baio. Like it's that kind of like parted in the middle, but it's still slicked back, or not slicked back, but like pushed back.
It's like waved
feathery,
back.
Yeah.
It's like almost like back combed, but he doesn't have product in it. It's just kind of like poofy and soft, but like big. And also, I don't know how much we want to talk about the actors themselves, but Joey seems noticeably like he's gone through some kind of a growth spurt or something. He's looking a little older in this episode. He's got a little bit of his own mustache coming in.
Yeah.
He just kind of like, you can just sort of start to tell with him and a little bit with Snake too, that the actors are like aging in real time.
Yeah, he's mere moments away from having a Mike mustache.
A Mike level mustache.
Yeah.
He can only dream. I mean, could he get to a hot dad level mustache? Who knows?
I think yes.
Like if we're ranking, because I feel like Vula's dad, his mustache is like number one to me, but Mike's mustache is like a close second.
It's the hair color. You get yourself a nice like dark mustache.
Right.
There's just no way to compete.
True.
I think that we can acknowledge, because we all know that Joey, makes appearances in Degrassi: The Next Generation. We do know that Joey does kind of become a bit of a hot dad himself.
That's true. He
Like,
will one day reach hot dad status, but without a mustache.
Yeah, I think he ages like a fine wine.
He does, yeah.
He looks great. When we meet back up with Joey Jeremiah in the early 2000s, he looks great.
He's doing good.
Yeah.
For now, he's working on that mustache and, doing his thing with his hair.
And kind of weirdly talking to himself about how beautiful he is, and then trying to involve Yik in the conversation.
Right.
Like,
Yik
am I beautiful or what?
Yik happens to be in the bathroom with him.
I love this, like, Leo son confidence. You know?
Do you think it's true confidence or do you think it's insecurity? Because the way that he's so, like, kind of petty, it feels
I think
like
he's got both. I do think that I do think that he actually does think he's funny. I think that he probably thinks he's a good friend. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure he's kind of like one of these people who's maybe been downtrodden a little bit by the school system. Radish is constantly calling him out and kind of implying he's stupid. So I'm sure he's had enough knocks to his confidence. And obviously, like, he's not the guy that everybody's rushing to date. But I think he's kind of both, like I do think he's got a lot of stuff he's really insecure about, but I do think that in general, he is like, he has the confidence of like a mediocre white man.
I mean, he was like ready to like sell drugs that he didn't have. He's ready to like sort of wheel and deal, do some scheming, like that kind of thing takes
like
confidence.
A hustler.
Yeah, you don't get scammed by like, a shrinking violet.
Well, and also, he's like a creative and outgoing person, but he doesn't really have an outlet for those kind of positive traits like at school. So like, yeah, exactly. Instead, he's constantly getting in trouble in school. And that's maybe why he focuses so much on these like non-academic things, or like, we hear a lot from Wheels about worrying about his grades and stuff, And I think it was like in a previous episode, or maybe it even is later in this episode, where he says like rock stars don't need to go to school.
In the last episode, he was talking about touring, and Snake was very wholesome. Just like, I don't think my parents would let me miss that much school. And Joey's just like, rock stars don't go to school.
Yes,
Hell yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So in this scene, that's where Yick finds out that.
Right. So he tells Yick he's the new sports rep, and Yick is mad, and he goes to find Arthur. And then he actually tells Arthur and everyone else in class that Steph has made Joey sports rep, and everyone is reciting the rules that have been violated, which basically like what we were talking about before, like he's not on any sports teams, he wasn't elected, and he's not a grade 7.
Yeah, and Kathleen points out that now the student council is unbalanced because there are 4 grade 8s and there are 2 grade 7s.
Right.
Alex, who by the way is in I have 2 looks of the week, but they are both from Alex, and this is his first one. I love this crew neck sweatshirt situation. It may be a sweater, but I just think Alex has dad going grocery shopping on Sunday chic, just like down pat. He
Absolutely.
is killing it in every scene he's in this episode. I would wear this outfit. I would also wear the next one, but I love it. Anyway, Alex, in his amazing outfit, says that this goes against the democratic system. And, you know, Melanie says that Stephanie is infringing on their rights. And Arthur is trying to defend her a bit, which...
She's still defending her.
Read the
Arthur.
room, pal.
Aww.
But
To
also,
the end,
I
to
get
the
it.
bitter end.
Loyal.
Yeah.
I do get it. He probably is like, she's my sister. I have to defend her. There's really no one else that's going to.
Right. And
So
I
it's
think
like,
he would do it for anyone.
This is true.
Any of his friends. He did like he did kind of shit all over Rick's reputation, but he doesn't really know Rick. So we'll say for people that Arthur is close to, he's extremely loyal to them.
Yeah, I think so.
And then after class, they're all roasting Steph again in the hallway, and now they have made signs saying things such as impeach Stephanie K and no way Stephanie K and many more, like just a montage of signs.
These are collectively my utilitarian props of the week. The one that you can see the most of says Stephanie K may be a good kisser, but she's a lousy prez. The student council can't be run on lips alone.
Oh!
Woof!
Brutal.
This is a shockingly negative ad. But also, I want to point out, we don't know what kind of kisser Steph is because she hasn't actually kissed anyone. She let the boys kiss her.
This is true. She got a bunch of kisses on the cheek, and a bunch of boys thought that was basically going to third base. There's one sign that says no campaign promises kept with 2 exclamation points and discrimination against grade 7s. There is
at some point they
one.
mentioned that she had promised rock on the PA.
Yep. And also there's one that says no way Stephanie K, you've gone too far. I love these signs. They are amazing. Honestly, mad props to the props department. I salute you.
Townsfolk have gathered their pitchforks.
They really got to work on these signs.
And you get a lot of cuts of people discussing stuff because Vula starts defending her and is like, but she goes to all the meetings. And LD is just like,
what's up with
oh
that?
no. LD
Why
is like, that
Vula
is
defending her now?
Right?
I think they're friends again, and so Vula's also like pretty loyal, but yeah, they're also saying things like she's only school president because she let all the boys kiss her, she was drunk at the school dance, she broke the promise about rock on the PA, and she can't appoint Joey just because she likes him.
Yes, a very strong point.
And we also see that Rick is back at it, getting signatures on a petition to impeach Stephanie.
Hell yeah, Comrade Rick back in it with the direct action. He's got a petition. He's getting people to sign. He is still extremely good at getting people excited about a cause.
I wish he had a more fun slogan, like stop the stink or whatever the previous slogan was. But honestly, it's just impeach Stephanie. That's all you need.
He wasn't given enough time. I think if he had oversight.
True. He came up with that one after like that brainstorming sesh with Caitlin. Exactly. So you're right. You're right.
This is all moving really quick.
We just need the facts. The facts are we've got to impeach Stephanie.
And the facts are that Rick can adapt to any protest situation and will immediately have a petition for you. Just whipped right up.
He's on it. He's probably got a template and everything. He's just ready to hit that copy machine.
I bet he would make amazing like protest zines.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. He's got the facts for you.
So Arthur tries to warn Stephanie about the rebellion that is brewing, but she just kind of blows him off too, and she just doesn't think that grade 7s matter.
Yeah, she says grade 7s don't count.
Yeah.
She just has super Trump vibes here, which I am not interested in.
No, like she thinks she's only president to the people that like her and not that she's class president to all of the students. She's never seemed to understand that about her role. Like even when she was getting votes, she was like strategically trying to get votes from certain groups of people and discounting other groups that she knew just like wouldn't vote for her. So she's never really thought of her role as like serving the entire Degrassi community. It's always been about serving herself and her own needs.
Yeah, she is not the people's president.
No. So in the next scene, Zit Remedy is practicing again. They're really working hard on the... I mean, if you've got a 1-minute song, I guess you can truly play it throughout the day as much as you want. But Wheels actually has to leave because he's going to go study. Joey thinks it's a made-up excuse and says they shouldn't stop being friends just because his girl chose him over Wheels. Which, like, dream on, Joey. Wheels says Steph is not his girl and calls Joey a jerk, which is true.
I love this whole bit of dialogue where he's like, I know how you feel about losing her. Like, your girl chose me. She's not my girl. And Joey's like, don't I know it?
And he keeps saying this stuff to Snake, and Snake is like, don't bring me into this. Like, he keeps making these little snide comments and, like, looking back at Snake, but, like, Wheels is just, like, not here for it.
Snake is once again giving me really strong Libra vibes. He's, like, fine to listen to both sides, but he is not going to get involved.
No.
Like, he doesn't want to be involved in the drama. He just wants all of the information about what it is.
Well, and in case he needs to share any warnings with anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
And once again, you know, like Wheels this whole, like, the whole, like, past 2, you know, episodes or so, he's just, like, trying to, like, study and improve his grades, and nobody, like, takes him seriously.
And also, Joey is just rubbing something in his face that Wheels has not shown any upset about. Like,
right.
Wheels doesn't seem particularly concerned. And we kind of get a montage while they're practicing where we're seeing a bit of B-roll, really, of, like, Stephanie just being all over Joey in the library and stuff. And it's very weird. And... yeah, Wheels just doesn't seem particularly bothered by it because he's just kind of like, oh, I guess that's what's happening. And so Joey, like, continually bringing it up and throwing it in his face is, first of all, just not really, like, very emotionally intelligent, but it's also just not very, like, socially intelligent. It's like he's not upset really, or at least he's not showing he's upset in any way, but yet you keep bringing this up and trying to make him upset.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason Joey's upset is because Wheels is not upset.
Yeah.
But Joey himself was so upset when their kind of roles were reversed.
That's because he's petty.
He is petty. So at school the next day, the grade 7s are plotting to confront Stephanie. In the library, Wheels overhears the twins arguing about how Steph is using Joey to get back at him for saying no to their date. Wheels goes to tell Joey, but Joey thinks he's just trying to mess with him before the exam.
I just wanted to really quick, because this is pointless but also weird. Like, Raditz rolls in to, like, so they show at the beginning of this kind of scene everyone rolling up to school, and Raditz is like coming in with sunglasses on a cloudy day, and he's like laughing and like just acting really weird, and kind of like gets in a quick zinger at Joey about like, oh, are you nervous for the test, Joey? Like, I don't know, just acting really weird.
Do you think he's hungover?
It feels like he's like on something. Like something's going weird with Raditz.
We don't really find out any specifics. We don't find out specifics about his life in general, but I also wrote down that I found it strange that the whole class was horsing around, but when Raditz walks in, he only says to Joey to get in his seat. Like, everyone's messing around. And I'm just like, what is this dude's problem? Also, I appreciate that Wheels like kind of immediately went to talk to Joey. I do think he possibly could have waited till after the exam. But I do like that he's just like, go ask them. If you don't believe me, go ask them.
He's worried about his pal.
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense. He's just like, oh, no.
As soon as he like hears this, he immediately goes to tell Joey because he's worried about him. He's not trying to embarrass him or anything like that. He's just worried about him. But Joey is just like not ready to hear this.
No, not
once again we see that the library is the perfect spot to gossip and hear people gossiping.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
any of these people ever look over their shoulder when they're talking shit? Because, like,
never.
That's like 101.
Oh, and this is when the twins are like kind of getting in trouble too in the library, right? For like talking really loudly, because they're in like a full on like argument about this. Like, one of them thinks like this is really wrong, and the other one is kind of like, whatever, like, who cares about Joey?
Well, Heather is saying it's not okay, and Erica is kind of being like, all is fair in love and war. And I was like, that's a weird thing to say.
And they're not in conflict. Steph and Wheels are like not in conflict. He just couldn't hang out the weekend that she wanted to. He didn't even say like, I only want to be friends, or like, I'm not really interested in you, or anything like that. He just was like, I have to study.
Yeah, can we hang out over Christmas break? Which, by the way, is kind of a better offer, because usually over Christmas break, people have extended curfews.
Yeah, true. Also, just a couple other quick things. Where all the grade 7s are sort of like gathered in the hall and talking about how can they ambush Stephanie K. Alex is also wearing my look of the week in this scene.
Oh.
Is this his sweater?
So he's basically wearing the sweater that you picked, but he's got a trench coat over it and a matching scarf that I just, yes, I love it. I love it. Wonderful. And then one other thing, when Wheels tells Joey about this manipulative plot, we get a "you're just jealous."
You're just jealous.
Ooh,
yeah.
Add it to the tally.
I think the tally is only like maybe 2 so far.
It's 2, but
we're getting there.
Add it to the tally, yeah.
So Miss Avery's class has started taking their exams, but in Mr. Radich's class, he is late and chaos has ensued in his absence. There are paper planes being thrown in every direction, and there's a rumor that Radich has lost the exam. Paul, as you mentioned, he shows up looking pretty disheveled, and then he tells them that he'll be writing the exam on the blackboard, so it sounds like he probably did lose it and was not able to make copies.
How?
So, okay, the clock on the wall says that it is 9:23. So presumably this class started at 9. Radich is nearly half an hour late to class. It was just 2 weeks ago that he had 3 blistering zingers for Spike, who was late.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
Good point.
Radich, I cannot hang. And he clearly lost the exam. That's why he's handing out blank sheets of paper.
Yeah, are we going to call him Mr. Radich the Disorganized?
Maybe we should.
And he also calls out Joey when he walks into class, and then they all kind of take their seats, and he rips his hat off of his head and puts it on his desk. So even though he is the one who's late in this situation, he's still calling out one of the students and doesn't even like acknowledge his own like error here.
Yeah.
Always on.
Always
ready.
asserting his authority. I also took note of the fact that when Miss Avery is handing out tests, she does not touch one single shoulder. And I found that personally shocking.
The stakes are too high here. She's not here to comfort anyone. This is it. This is the end of the term.
These are the
You've
big
gotten
leagues,
all the
baby.
Yeah, you've gotten all the shoulder touching you're gonna get. Now you're on your own.
This is prime time.
Also, while they're taking their exams, the school song is like playing in the background.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know.
I was
At
trying
first-
to figure out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, basically, at first, what I thought was happening was that the grade 7s were singing it outside the classroom, like in protest of Stephanie. But I was like, aren't they also taking their exam?
So I thought that Radich was just playing a recording of the school song as like music while they took the exam. But then we shifted to Miss Avery's class and it was still playing, and I realized it was just like happening in the background. It was just like a weird musical choice for like, I don't think we don't typically even notice the music that's like going on in the back of an episode, if there is any.
Well, I wonder if it was just because like they wanted some music playing over this like stressful kind of scene, but they didn't really have rights to anything.
That's true. And this episode is like a little bit different than the other episodes because it is more like later we get some like flashbacks. We're getting like some montages of them like taking the exam. So maybe they're just kind of trying to like fill those moments that they don't usually have in the episodes. After they start turning in their exams, we see my look of the week.
Ooh.
So Lucy is wearing my look of the week, which is a white collared shirt underneath a blue crew neck sweatshirt, paired with a skirt and white tights. It's like we see this look like very quickly, but I just thought it was like really cute and like, you know, just kind of a timeless classic.
I also almost chose this.
Nice.
It's extremely good.
I wish that we got to see more of it because it really is very brief.
Same. I want to know, I can't totally tell what the sweatshirt says.
I know, I thought it was like some kind of school or like university logo, but I couldn't totally tell.
Radich gives us a little total BS line, not even really apologizing for him being late. He's just like, these things happen. I guess these things happen for him, but not for anyone else.
Seriously, he makes no allowances for anyone else to ever be late when they're having actual like teenage like crises. But for him, it's fine.
He's a very like, because I said so, do as I say, not as I do kind of adult.
100%.
So after the exam, Joey asks the twins if Stephanie is using him to make Wheels jealous, and one says yes and the other says no. Then they both tell him sorry and like walk off. So it's pretty obvious to him at this point that that's exactly what's happening.
Oh, buddy.
Oh.
In the hallway, the grade 7s are looking for Stephanie K and chanting "Out of the way" with Stephanie K. Which is fun. Oh, they also say she's probably in the girls' bathroom, which she's not in there, but then they just go wait by the girls' bathroom anyway, because it's like unofficially her office.
Yeah, she's like the Fonz.
Yeah. So Joey finds Wheels, and so now Joey finds Wheels and just immediately tells him that he was right about everything with Stephanie, and then asks if they want to go practice.
I love that. I love that it's just like such a quick, like, no hard feelings, okay.
Yeah.
Bro downs, no bounds.
True. Outside of the girls' bathroom, like Steph walks up and kind of sees what's happening, and Susie is holding the petition, and she says that as vice president, she formally protests Joey's appointment as sports rep.
Damn.
Hell yeah.
I love that Susie is like the one that's kind of been made the head of they have like an official like head of their upheaval. And I also have in my notes that from the very beginning, season 1, episode 1, like right after the election, Susie like immediately tracked that Stephanie was full of shit. Like I don't remember specifically what happened, but she's just immediately.
She was asking her about like the upcoming like job responsibilities that she knew all about, like kind of like what was going to happen next now that Stephanie was president, and Steph just was like clueless.
So it's really cool that she gets to sort of be the person to make this confrontation.
And she's someone who's using her power to give voice to the people.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. She is a woman of color speaking truth to power. And the other grade 7s are passing the mic and letting her take charge.
Exactly. So Steph really has like no response to this, but then she spots Joey. So she kind of like tells him to come over, tell everyone what a great sports rep he is. And this is sort of like, I think this is supposed to be reminiscent of, the very first episode, Kiss Me Steph, when she's kind of giving this impromptu speech outside of the girls' bathroom and Joey is there like hyping her up. So she sort of thinks that like Joey is going to save her again in this situation. But this time he tells everybody that he can't be sports rep because it's a grade 7 position and he quits. And then he also tells her she doesn't have to pretend to be nice to him anymore.
And Wheels...
Man.
In my notes, I wrote, Wheels looks at her like she is the living butthole. Which I think is really accurate.
Just a total slam dunk. Joey like levels up here too. Like he just, I don't know, something that's like a totally different vibe for Joey. He's just sort of like, you know what, actually, I don't care what you think, which is like not the Joey that we have known all this season.
Here's the thing though, when times are actually serious and dire, Joey does do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
True.
You know what I mean? Like he knows when is the appropriate time to step up and be a good person effectively. Mm-hmm. And he can see, I mean, I think that he was very happy to go along with the corruption when it was yielding him a potential girlfriend. And so also him quitting is not just because his morality has kicked in and he wants to do the right thing, but it's also because he's mad at Stephanie and wants to kind of screw her a little bit in front of all of these people who are really angry with her. But it still is the right thing to do.
I mean, yeah, because she like embarrassed him. She was like acting like she was really interested to him and then like basically like making fun of him behind his back to her friends. Like it was kind of a joke to them.
When they come up and they're yelling at her about Joey, she's just like, he's qualified. Like she even then, like once they hand her this petition, make their case, she still just like rolls her eyes. It's such a like Republicans ramming a Supreme Court nominee through. You know what I mean? Like it's got that energy.
Just because they can.
Yeah.
She's trying to say the right thing to get out of the situation. She's not trying to like actually respond to any of their complaints or like address their concerns. She's just trying to say whatever she needs to say to like get out of this.
And also
to not be held accountable.
And she doesn't think grade 7s have any power. So she's just kind of like, whatever, he's qualified, buzz off.
Right.
Yeah.
But then in the bathroom, you know, Steph is alone now doing her typical like putting on her clothes that she wears at home, brushing out her hair, removing her makeup with like what appears
dry toilet paper.
Yeah. It's like it just looks like it would be extremely rough on her face and not very effective. But as we've seen throughout the series, Steph is not really skilled at makeup removal.
This is the second time she is attempting to take off all of her makeup with like a dry surface.
It was like one of those like napkins that basically feels like paper.
Oh,
like your face would just be all red and raw. Anyway, so she's kind of talking to herself in the mirror and, you know, saying like she just wanted everyone to like her. And then as she starts, like, the more she's kind of removing her makeup and changing, she starts flashing back to every single time that she's been an asshole this season. So she remembers telling Arthur not to talk to her at school, to pretend they don't know each other. She remembers the speech she gave. And then, like, afterwards, when she thanked Joey instead of Vula. And then we also see Vula cutting a promo on Steph in the hallway when she called her a selfish baby.
Selfish baby.
Selfish baby. Still slaps, by the way.
You and your new
yeah.
image, Miss President.
Oh,
I love that we get to revisit the selfish baby burn.
yeah.
Directly into my veins. Just give it to me. I love the selfish baby burn.
Yeah, just every time she's been terrible, we get to revisit it with like this new context of now she knows she's terrible.
And it's funny too because, you know, she's saying that she just wanted everyone to like her, but in all of these situations, people specifically did not like what she was doing and like did not like how she was acting, and no one was really responding positively to it. But I think she just didn't really, she's just starting to put all those things together and to see how people like actually feel about her.
I actually really relate in this moment because I feel like we've all had situations where we maybe handled something very badly in the moment, and then all of a sudden it just hits you like a ton of bricks, and you think back to like the full conversation or all of your actions, and you're just like, oh shit.
Well,
Is that just me? Did I just say we've all had that? That's actually, that's not everybody.
I'm extremely confident in everything I do. But yeah, like as I pointed out, the way that Stephanie, I'm pretty sure the way that Stephanie tries to get people to like her is through abuse of power, intentional manipulation, and revenge flirting.
Revenge flirting.
And that's just doesn't seem like a good way to get people to like you.
It's all about like creating an image for her. Like she's trying to cultivate, you know, this perception of who she is that doesn't really seem to match who she actually is. But also I don't think we really know who she actually is because it's kind of all we've seen of her.
This actually all has really big, like, borderline personality disorder energy for me. Like, she seems to kind of, she seems to intervene in her own relationships and seems to have, like, a real desire for people to love her and to not, like, abandon her or, like, you know, reject her. She seems to cling to a few specific people. And then she kind of like treats people in a way that maybe even she doesn't agree with, but she's just like, shit, man. Whoops. I just like, she just woke up. She has had that moment. So she'll be on Abilify soon, I'm sure.
But I mean, yeah, good for her for like, it took her a long time, but here we are. Like she is reevaluating so many decisions that she made, and that's cool. Good.
I mean, some people never do that. Some people, like, for example, even in this episode, like, I don't think Joey is going to go apologize to Wheels and be like, hey, sorry that I was making fun of you and, you know, being mean to you about Steph wanting to date me. That wasn't very cool. Like, he's just kind of like, hey, she was using me. Let's go practice. And like,
yeah, he never addresses.
No.
Yeah.
No, there's no acknowledgement of wrongdoing. Whereas you can see the wheels kind of turning inside of Stephanie's head, and she's just like, I've got to do something.
It's bro code, dude. He knows I'm sorry.
Well, and also, you know, it's like, it's the end of the term, and she's actually like reflecting on, she had this whole plan, and so she's seeing how that worked out and like where that's gotten her. And where it's gotten her is that like half of the school is like mad at her, and she just got like kind of publicly rejected like twice. Like Wheels turned her down, and then Joey turned her down for the sports rep position. And so she's kind of seeing like that she's just kind of, at the end of the day, she's like alone basically because she treated everyone really poorly.
I mean, you can see from the beginning of the season that really, like, she wants to be president because she wants to be important. She wants people to like her. And even the way that she becomes president is through, you know, kind of an emotional thing as opposed to any kind of policy or any kind of hard work. It's through the kisses. And as we move through the season, you see that every decision that she makes is really about how she's viewing herself through other people's lens. And so she talks about how she's ready to have sex with Wheels because she assumes he wants to. She goes after this soap star. She gets drunk because she thinks other people want her to, and that will make her more liked or more accepted. There's a lot of things that Stephanie does that are really just for what she thinks is the benefit of other people, but it's really not to anyone's benefit. And I think she's just now realizing that she's given up so many pieces of herself and she's done so many things that she thought were what other people wanted her to do, that now there's nothing left for her. And she's going to have to figure out, you know, how to come back to a place where she understands herself.
Damn.
Yeah, she is always like comparing herself to other people and kind of like where they fall within this like hierarchy at school. So like whether she needs to like care about their feelings or not. Yeah, so exactly, like, so how she's like only perceiving herself through other people's eyes, and then she's also constantly comparing herself to other people and not just like existing, man.
So my last therapist, I don't remember, did I say this in another episode? But like my last therapist, shout out to Melissa, gave me the advice that you wouldn't stick a thermometer in somebody else's mouth to take your own temperature. So you shouldn't look to what other people think of you to decide how you feel about yourself. And I think that while she had many pearls of wisdom that I did not find super useful, I really liked that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Although not in COVID times, you definitely don't want to stick your thermometer in someone else's mouth.
God, absolutely not.
So after, you know, having this like dramatic moment in the bathroom, Steph walks past Arthur outside of school and she kind of stops to ask him if he wants to walk home together. And then she tells Arthur that she's made a lot of mistakes, but next term is going to be completely different because she's going to be herself. And she also says she's going to be nicer to him. And we end on a freeze frame of Arthur and Steph wearing scarves and looking happy.
We did it!
Arthur looks like such a little mogwai in this scene. The way he's just sort of like walking along next to her, kind of doe-eyed. Oh man, it's so cute. He never gave up hope, and in like a turnaround from the end of season 1, episode 1, now they're like walking home together and like talking and sharing, and it's all good.
And they're even like joking with each other. You know, she's making these promises and he's like, and can I borrow your like boombox and like whatever. So they're
sister stuff.
Yeah, classic brother and sister
like,
dynamic.
Don't push it. Yeah, it's a really stark turnaround from the pilot. And so you're seeing the progress that she's made just as a person from episode 1 to episode 13. And that's one semester, you know, that is one semester of school. And I actually think for that age, like a semester is actually a huge time of like learning, evolution. You change how you dress, you get a new haircut, you start hanging out with different people halfway through the semester. Like middle school is such a time of like constant change, and high school too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually really buy that like all of this stuff has happened over a semester, and that now she's trying to think about like what she wants for herself for the next term. Good for Stephanie. I don't know.
Good for her. It took her a while, but she finally got there.
Can't relate.
Okay.
LD.
So I related to Alex and Rick because they were part of the collective action. They were both rallying in support of the cause. Rick was getting people to sign the petition. Alex was kind of at the front of the group when they all confronted Stephanie, but they both kind of hung back and didn't center themselves and just were there to lend their voice.
Yeah. Mine was similar. I identified with Yick, where like maybe what you were trying to say, but like for me, I have trouble with like direct action or confrontation just in general, unfortunately. But so in this episode, it was him getting blown off with his request to be the new sports rep that like set everything in motion. And like instead of trying to be like understanding, because she didn't technically tell him no, she didn't really actually say anything. Like she said the right thing. She was like, you know, let's talk about it next year or next term. But so instead of trying to be understanding with that, he like totally saw through her bullshit, called it out to everyone, which got the whole thing going. Love the vibe. I'm right there with him.
Mine was a little bit of a stretch, but I can relate to Arthur in this episode because he must know that Steph is just a terrible school president, but he also knows that she can do better than she's been doing, and he doesn't give up on her. He stays loyal to her, and then in the end, he's able to be there for her, and they're closer than they were before. So he can see that she's not actually a bad person. That's just kind of how she's acting. And he's loyal to the end.
Love it.
Ride or die.
Lil Mogwai.
So, friends, what did we learn today? Paul?
I felt like this episode was primarily about failure. And the most obvious example was Stephanie failing at being a political leader, but we also saw Raditch weirdly fail at administering a test. We saw Joey realize that his year-long attempt at trying to get Stephanie to like him had failed. So with Raditch, we saw that some failing institutional powers are immune from any real repercussions, and that's the lesson. LOL. With Joey, he realized his romantic failure and was immediately able to turn around and use that failing to help others. And then throughout this season, Stephanie, she could have just been an unqualified leader that actually tried and given a shit. And she maybe wouldn't have had to deal with this situation with a mob of grade 7s. But instead she was an unqualified leader and actively abdicated her role at every turn and got the figurative guillotine. Basically what I'm saying is failure is what you make it.
Whoa. So I learned, or rather observed, that the grade 7s and I think the wider student body were right to call out Stephanie's actions because she acted selfishly, she acted corruptly, she abused her power, she used her position for a personal vendetta. And even though most of the grievances that were about Stephanie were more about her inaction, like not keeping her campaign promises, more than her actions, like giving Joey the sports rep position, her appointment of Joey as a personal vendetta against Wheels for rejecting her shows that she was not above abusing her power in office. So I think that then we kind of come to a crossroads when we observe abuse of power or when we observe harm. And I think that we can call people out and we can seek to bring someone down through punishment, which is a tool of the carceral state, or we can call them in and support them in taking responsibility for their actions and help them to rehabilitate, which is more radical and community focused, but is also super difficult. I think that we are sort of all raised with a desire to see justice as a result of punishment. So the grade 7s have called Steph out, and by the end, we've seen a bunch of different people take a stance on it. So Joey has relinquished the power that he was given through corruption. Arthur has decided to support his sister and the cause at the same time. And Stephanie has expressed a desire to be more herself and to do better. So none of that is, of course, to defend Stephanie's actions, but rather I think that all cops are bastards, so we should examine the tiny cop that lives inside all of us.
A-cab.
A-cab. Yeah, so, I think we learned that you should not promote people into positions of power just to make your crush jealous, because it will probably backfire. Stephanie probably would have had a way better semester if she had actually just done her job and, gotten to know the other students and, listened to their feedback instead of just kind of shutting people down and just doing whatever was most, advantageous for her. But, she also learned that all of the changes she had been making to try to be more popular actually ended up making her more unlikable and almost cost her all of her closest friendships. Sometimes our focus is in the wrong place, and we can spend too much energy trying to be the person we think other people want us to be, when in reality, we would just be better off being ourselves. That's it for Revolution and for Season 1 of Degrassi Junior High. So now let's get into some of our favorite moments from this season.
Ooh.
Season 1 wrap-up, baby.
Yeah, I kind of can't believe we've done this many episodes.
Hooray!
It's amazing.
We've done so many episodes, and they really, I felt like they did a good job with this last episode of bringing everything together, which I wasn't really expecting them to do. But I also feel like not that much happened in season 1, so they did a really, really good job of making it seem like a lot had happened and to make it all kind of seem related.
I mean, I do think that they start off very slow with this show, and we got a little bit of it goes there early on, peppered in with Rick and his dad, but then we sort of hung back a little bit. We didn't get a ton of, high octane drama until, Spike gets pregnant. And so I think that this was the perfect culmination of this season where they were kind of amping it up and up and up, and now it's just exploded, and we don't know what's going to happen in season 2.
I feel like the two most dramatic moments were Spike getting pregnant and then Rick's dad abusing him.
Yeah.
Those were the two kind of most shocking moments, and they kind of had the biggest sort of consequences. Although we don't really get back to Rick in that way. We don't really, it just seems that he's in a better situation after he moves in with his brother.
Yeah, and maybe that's all we need to know. I feel like maybe if this were the Next Generation or even a different teen show, we'd have a subplot where his dad comes back and wants to make amends or something. But it seems like, at least for now, we can assume that he's living with Frank and everything is okay. But, season 1 dealt with, in big and small ways, a lot of issues. So there was, there was drinking.
Yeah, what are the top
abuse,
teen issues? So abuse, drinking, drugs, smoking, cheating, pregnancy. So
sex in general.
Shoplifting.
Oh,
which is
shoplifting.
such a teenage crime. and lying to your parents.
Oh, and and also facing serious fears. We had LD and to an extent Yick also with kind of implied PTSD as well. LD with her dad and the trauma of losing her mom, and then Yick and the trauma of being a refugee. And obviously they don't really go into any kind of discussion of trauma necessarily, but right. I think it's sort of implied that both of those events were traumatic for both characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and let's get into some of our kind of best of moments.
Ooh, are we going with the Degrassi Junior High superlatives?
We are.
Is this the yearbook?
I think to start, let's go a little bit beyond the high school itself and talk about who we think was the most responsible adult on season 1 of Degrassi Junior High.
So we all collaborated on our top options. Should we read all of those, or are we just going to read our final decisions?
No, let's read through them. What are our options?
I'll take these. So for most responsible adult, we've got Spike's mom, Doris, the school secretary,
Yeah.
Wheels' dad for his earnest, sexy time advice. We've also got maybe Jeff.
It was a maybe.
Oh, yes, Jeff, the family friend, LD's family friend who works in the shop with her dad.
I felt that he was semi-responsible because he does live on his own, but as established, his mom does cook his dinner and comes over all the time. And also, he didn't actually really do anything to help LD when she was in what I would categorize as a time of need.
An honorable mention.
He
at
mostly
best.
just offered her a ride to the hospital on his motorcycle.
It's kind of responsible.
Ish.
So we've also got Mama Kay and her pamphlets.
Oh yeah.
And the sales associate who sold Melanie her first bra.
It's actually a very strong contender.
I had to dig deep for that one, but I just remembered that she was a true professional in the face of giggling girls.
Well, yeah, because there were other kind of incidental adults. Like there was basically the mall cop who yelled at Lucy and Vula, but I'm just kind of like, nah.
Yeah, that wasn't really helpful. She acted like the store was really gonna be hurt by their theft.
Yeah, like they were single-handedly going to launch all of Canada into a recession.
So did any of us have like one responsible adult that stood tall amongst the others?
So I picked Spike's mom and Doris. So obviously, like we've recently discussed Spike's mom and the fact that we felt that she reacted really favorably to Spike's pregnancy and, hasn't slut shamed her and has been supportive and took her to the clinic. But then also I did want to mention Doris because she calls child services when she thinks that Joey is hinting that he's being abused. And I just think better safe than sorry.
Mandated
It's
reporter,
her job.
baby.
Yeah, it's her job. She did it.
Yeah.
Yep. I had to go with Wheels' dad and his straightforward, sexy time advice.
Oh, stop
To
calling
me, I
it
feel
that.
I just felt like that was like, it was cool. I feel like normally when we see like a televised parent-child sex discussion, it's either like really awkward or it's like perfect and the parent knows all the right things to say or like whatever. It's very like romanticized on the other side of the coin. Whereas I just felt like his dad was just sort of like, well, son, I don't know too much, but, and it was just like, yeah, dude, absolutely. That's real as fuck. Yes.
Well, son, I am a virgin, so.
Potentially.
Yeah, man. We don't know.
We don't know.
I also found Spike's mom to be the most responsible adult. Like, everything we've said, just the way that she handled finding out this information, she was just like totally cool about it, really approachable. Even when we saw her in maybe not a good mom moment, when Spike had made her late for school and she was sort of like, fighting with her. But then she just immediately apologizes. And she also gives good sex advice to Spike. Like, she doesn't shame her for having sex. She's just kind of like, I wish you would have waited when you're older. Sex can be really wonderful, like in the right situation kind of advice. So yeah, I'm also going to go with Spike's mom here, but honorable mention to Wheels' dad. But I just like... I just can't take that kind of nerd advice seriously. I felt like Spike's mom had like cooler advice.
Yeah, I felt like she was talking about sex in a way that like she's had it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, I'm gonna keep this rolling. We now have our best B plot. Our options are Yick and Melanie's skate date. Amadeus is missing.
Exclamation point.
Yick's family history, swamp sex robots, and then a deluge of Arthur and Yick plots. Arthur and Yick's growth bullshit, Arthur and Yick trying to avoid Joey, and Arthur and Yick investigating theft.
Tell us about it, Paul. Who'd you pick?
My pick, Yick and Melanie's first date, because unfathomable to me as a middle schooler, the way that he just kept biffing it, which first of all, I wouldn't have even had the guts to ask in the first place. Dude is like biffing over and over and over, and finally he just wills it into existence, this cute little date that they then go on, and it's fun. Wonderful.
Mary?
I would say the only truly romantic moment in season 1. So I actually picked something that is not on the list that I just remembered, which is wild card.
This
which
is brand new
Joey,
information!
which is Joey selling drugs to the grade 7s.
New Zealand Zappers, baby!
Get those zappers
From underneath
Whoa.
his skateboard. That was so genius.
my
That was just
God.
like the entrepreneurial charisma of Joey Jeremiah is unparalleled.
And just the way that they would all be like, whoa, mild. Like the way that they acted when they were on drugs, just the whole...
It's how I
loved it
wish
all.
I acted when
It
I'm on drugs.
Joey was like made for this moment, and he just immediately like switches into like hustler mode and just
Belgian
gives
Blue?
us a lot of good
Degrassi
comedy.
grass?
Yeah, man, he is a scammer, just like a born hustler. It's his calling.
Love it.
Truly, and he excels
LD.
at it.
LD, who do you have?
Oh, I went with swamp sex robots.
Ow!
Specifically for the swarm of horny tween boys showing up at Arthur's house and demanding a group porn viewing.
I think Alex is literally like jumping up and down when the door opens.
We want to see pornography. Like truly,
Fair.
You do love to see it, and ultimately, like, you would not have this experience now with the internet. And of course, like, you do probably still get like teen boys watching porn together, but I just feel like they're like carrying that VHS under the cloak of secrecy and like trying to hide it, even though you could just put it in your backpack. But apparently not getting that memo was a huge part of the magic and the buildup and
Analog, baby.
yeah, analog, baby.
And we got to imagine what, swamp sex robots could possibly be.
Yeah, I love that
I'm
we never
still
see it.
imagining it. I haven't stopped imagining it.
You added
All
it
right,
to your
so
spank bank.
oh my. Best hair options. We have Rick, Spike, Stephanie K, Joey's Faux Hawk, Melanie's Voluminous Bob.
I went with Rick's wavy bowl cut, which I have mentioned no fewer than 37 times throughout this season. So I felt like I had to give it up. It's perfect. And a haircut I'm still considering for myself.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
very
gonna
good.
also have to go with Rick's wavy bowl cut for the same exact reason. It's just a beautiful and perfect haircut. We got to see it kind of, shift and change over the season, which I really enjoyed. It only seemed to get better. And I'm hoping that, we'll get to see a little more of it next season.
There's something great about locking in your kind of like iconic haircut that early. Good for Rick.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I had to go with Melanie's Voluminous Bob because it inspired me to start wearing hair clips.
Oh,
So good
What?
for her. Good for me.
good for me. Show me the hair clips.
It's just like a rounded black barrette. It was mine. I gifted it to Paul because I'm not really using any hair accessories at the
You
moment.
guys are such cute little lesbians.
I know.
It was a whole thing, Mary teaching me
I
how
had to
use
teach
it.
him how to clip a little barrette into his hair. He was
I
not
kinda-
very good at it. I was like, how are you messing this up?
Yeah, it's not
I
hard.
felt like I looked like a little caveman baby. Like I grabbed like a whole hunk of my hair and like clipped it just kind of arbitrarily. And so then it just sort of like stuck out weirdly. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, I was like, you have to slide it into the hair, not clip it away from the rest of the hair.
It's all witchcraft, man. I don't know.
Yeah, it's always a good look when you've got a lot of volume at one side to like pin the other side up. And Melanie did pull off that look a few times. I did also enjoy her hair.
I also, by the way, we didn't put in Snake's like generous, like ginger curls that he's got going on. Those are looking mighty fine by the end of season
That's
1.
true. That's true. Maybe because they only started to really get where they were going towards the end.
I guess let's buckle in for season 2. Let's see what we get.
All right, so I think it's impossible to list all of the looks of the season, but a few. Stephanie's going out looks, LD's soft butch looks, Wales' sweaters, and I added Miss Avery's roommate.
Oh, Elaine?
She was my look of the week that week, I believe.
Yeah, she was. So I have picked 2 MVPs as opposed to picking like a specific look, because I think that Wheels and LD were both just constantly my looks of the week, and I think that they are both soft butch icons. So I have given them both the top slot.
Yeah. All the looks of the week that I picked throughout the season, I kind of went back and looked, and it's just all boring dude fashion. Like every week I think I was just like, I don't know, it's not that interesting, but I'd wear it. So I'm just going to disqualify myself from this look of the week superlative and let y'all do your thing.
No.
Or say Miss Avery's roommate.
Okay. So I definitely, Steph would really like go for it with her going out looks, but I think I'm going to go off list again. And I'm going to say Lucy, because I feel like we should have mentioned her. Lucy is like a style icon. Ooh, Lucy and Caitlin. So I also don't have like a specific look of the season, but I feel like Lucy and Caitlin were always kind of doing the most interesting looks in terms of like accessories and cuts and layers. So I'm gonna give them like a double billing and say Lucy and Caitlin, season 1. They had my looks of the season.
They were both amazing. Yeah. Caitlin had all of the headbands. There were some really amazing sweaters for her. Lucy, just was constantly playing with like different textures, different fabrics. She was going for it. She had that like Flintstones chic look at the dance. Yes, I love it. I support this pick.
Love it. All right, and next, LD, if you could read us the final broomhead count.
I want a little drum roll.
I'll add it.
Okay, cool. 12.
Hey.
Which averages to almost 1 broomhead every episode, but actually there were a couple of episodes that had like 4 and 2. And then we would go for stretches of time without any broomhead.
Really disappointed in the writers for not giving us that final extra broomhead count that would have pushed us to 1 per episode.
Where was our season 13 finale broomhead?
Unbelievable.
Because honestly, if anyone deserved to be called a broomhead in that episode, it was actually several people, but Joey and Stephanie both could have been called broomheads, and it would have fit.
They were both exhibiting some broomhead behavior.
Exactly. I wholeheartedly agree. All right.
Moving on, we've got my personal favorite, the best feud. So this is kind of a deep list. Am I going to read all of these?
It's really long. I would say don't read.
I'm gonna pick a few. I'm gonna pick a few that stand out. First of all, we've got LD versus Jason Cox, which, what a feud. Incredible.
This felt like the most traditional feud.
It was Battle of the Sexes.
Battle of the Sexes, yeah.
Classic heel versus baby face.
Yeah.
We had Vula versus Steph. We had Rick versus Kathleen. My personal favorite in a snake pit match, Alex versus Melanie.
Oh, yes.
We had Radich versus basically the entire student body, but specifically Joey. Am I missing any like really good ones?
I would say
Yik versus Radich felt like a big matchup. They had that fight in front of the class.
That's true.
Did we say Shane and Spike? It's kind of a domestic feud.
They are on the list. Yeah.
But they are constantly fighting. I did put Miss Avery versus lesbian rumors. Which
she did not like that.
Yeah, but she didn't seem too concerned about it.
It was just a whole episode, so I felt like, sure.
Lest we forget Vula's hot dad versus Western society. I liked that.
I liked that one too.
Seriously.
Right. Incredible. So many good feuds.
And who did you pick?
I said Alex versus Melanie in a snake pit match.
Amazing.
Their little snake rivalry was, for me, the most entertaining. Maybe didn't carry that much weight, but I liked it.
No, it was a refreshing B-plot where we didn't have like an Arthur and Yick scheme, which I think is very valuable in this economy.
Yeah. Anyone else have one that they want to specifically shout out?
I just LD versus Jason Cox has to be my favorite. You know,
Southern wrestling shit, like unbelievable.
It's such a classic feud, and Jason, I'm really gonna miss Jason now that I know he's never coming back. He just had the perfect like heel energy. Like he knew that they weren't actually like gonna win. He was like he was basically making it so that they were gonna cheat to win, but he always spoke with like such confidence, and he really got like LD all riled up. So I just like, especially because we won't get any more Jason feuds, that's gotta be my favorite of the season.
It's really sad that we won't get any more Jason on our screen. You know, you never know that the last time is the last time. And I feel like if we would have known, you know, maybe we could have savored that appearance a bit more. I agreed with the LD Jason purely business feud. I love that it didn't get like super personal aside from, you know, gender. But I also put Rick ripping Kathleen a new asshole, which was a close second. Like I really loved the Rick and Kathleen feud because it kind of checked Kathleen's power a little bit, power that she appears to have given herself. And it also, I think, blew all of the classism wide open on the Environmental Action Committee. And I think that it also just kind of like gave us an opportunity to see some of Rick's talents.
Agreed. And he had some good insults too. I think he called her like a brain box, and then when he was talking to Caitlyn, he called them a bunch of do-gooders.
Yep. He's not wrong.
Oh man, a brain box.
Oh, and this kind of leads us into the next one, Paul.
We have best promo. This one I will read out. So we had Vula calling Steph a selfish baby in the stairwell. Vula telling Lucy she thought she was sophisticated, but she's really just dumb. We had Rick calling out Kathleen and the Environmental Action Committee because they call themselves an action committee, but all they ever do is just talk. And then we also had Rick calling out Caitlyn that he's not a charity case and the EAC is a bunch of do-gooders, as previously stated.
What'd you go for?
I feel like the biggest smackdown is Vula and Steph in the stairwell.
Absolutely.
Vula has like a number of hilarious lines. But yeah, like as we discussed as it aired, selfish baby is just like not a good insult. But she has such heart when she says it that it still feels like it must hurt Steph a little bit. And Vula just has a lot of attitude when she's like going in on someone, and she's always like very righteous and like what she's saying. So yes, I think that Vulu gave the best promo this season.
Fully agree.
Yeah, fully agree. I also love that she stuck to her guns at least for a while and really negged Steph whenever Steph would approach her. She just really followed up, you know what I mean? She wanted to make sure that it was a lasting burn.
Oh yeah, she had follow-up sassy comments.
Absolutely.
She didn't blow them all in the first fight.
All right, and so we unfortunately didn't really make a list for this one, but the best utilitarian prop.
I mean, there are so many. There's the amazing banner at the dance that's basically just like Degrassi fundraiser for a foster child. And then there's like, there's the honesty is the best policy sign. There's all of the Steph campaign signs. Paul, I know you loved Snake's campaign poster.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's an incredible campaign
Was
poster.
it like Snake for president? Or for prez?
There's all the
That's what it was.
signs at the swim meet. There are signs for the coup that's staged against Stephanie. There's the election day like box just for the ballots on
Ballot
election
box.
day. There's so many. There's so
Stop the stink.
Oh, stop the stink.
Personally, I gotta give it up to the hand-painted snake trap box, though. The level of care and detail. Yes.
Which, as discussed, really looked like the Loch Ness monster.
It was not a good representation of a snake.
I loved it. I loved it so much. I love just so many of the props. There was also the pamphlet that Mama K gives. That's a utilitarian prop. Yeah, we love all the pamphlets. I don't think I can pick one. I just would encourage people to check out our Instagram for all of the utilitarian props that we've mentioned each week.
They should not go unrecognized.
Tweet at us and tell us your favorite utilitarian prop from the TV show Degrassi.
Oh, yes, please do.
I think I'm going to select honesty is the best policy from Anonymous. Just because.
As Arthur lies to Yick about his vase.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I just love how it was so on the nose.
I couldn't have picked a better sign.
And we just have to revisit one more time in memoriam.
Yes.
We just had to revisit one more time in memoriam. We hardly knew ye, Jason Cox, and we hardly knew ye, Jeff, the mechanic guy.
Who will be back in Next Generation.
Who lived by
As an
his
entirely
mom.
different person who will be back after he goes through the witness protection program and then ends up living in the same town that he was running from.
It's so that he can still live close to his mom because she cooks a lot of food.
He can't really survive without her.
I mean, he still needs to live alone, though, because he needs to be able to put his clothes wherever he
Look,
wants.
the TV is on the table. He's got it all set up.
He's got it set up just how he likes it.
Poor Jeff.
Wow, y'all. I can't believe we did this whole first season. I love it.
So we're going to take a short break. So follow us on social media to stay up to date on what's coming up for season 2.